Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jeneth Lyanca,
And I'm Lyanca.
and this is the Hot Hustle. And today we're talking with Masami Covey specifically on the lunar eclipse and Mercury in retrograde, and really how to align, support, nurture the body during this time. I really feel like this topic isn't talked about enough. The more that I Googled and looked for things, I just feel like those of us that are really energetically sensitive, we need a little bit of guidance. So I feel like you are the one and only that might be able to guide us here. So welcome.
My God, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're
Yep.
my only hope.
So
Well,
let's
yeah,
go ahead and talk about this. Let's start with the eclipse first, and then we'll go Mercury later. Um, what is it that we really need to know here to both like really bring in this beautiful eclipse and be a part of it, as well as how can it support our lives and our bodies? And I think that means all of our bodies, our astral bodies and our infinite, ethereal bodies even. Let's bring it all in here and see what comes through.
yeah. So I'm going to need some help on that part because I'm going to be focusing on the first couple layers of the body of the koshas.
Okay.
Um, because I'm all about the health and your physical, fleshy part of the body. That's what I get excited about talking about. So I will do that, and then maybe we can have a back and forth and see what we can come up with to support one another, because this is not just happening to one community or one state, right? This is happening all across the globe. So it's even you cannot see the total solar eclipse. That doesn't mean anything. It's happening to the global scale. So, and this one is called the Great American Solar Eclipse for a reason, right? Because it is going to span from down in Texas, down to Mexico, but it will go all the way up to Maine, so East Coast as well. And, I did kind of a funny thing. Well, not funny thing, but, this is how my intuition and my mind works is that I was called to look up the battlegrounds for Civil War. And some of these battles that were fought, really, the solar eclipse goes straight through that line.
Wow, Masami.
Interesting.
I was just saying how before you got on the call, how just you invited me in our last call to view things from a totally different relationship point and to look at things. And so I was getting in onto a roller coaster because we're traveling with my son and we're right at the beach. And so I was thinking about the moon and I was thinking about the earth, the celestial bodies, and how we're just, pieces that, and everybody's collective is looking upwards. And your conversations or the way that you look at things and you're called to look at the battlegrounds, that's so fascinating. And I almost, my gosh, it's brilliant. But what else can we do to contribute?
Right. No, we're gonna get to that. But I think
Okay.
that's what's required of all of us, right? When
Mm-hmm.
you go through lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, but particularly this particular solar eclipse, if you do live in the United States, we are going to be asked to be flexible. We are asked to look at things from a different angle. That's what eclipse season is all about. And we do have two eclipse seasons, right? During the year, generally two eclipses. And usually we have 3 to sometimes 4 Mercury retrogrades. So this year we're going to have 3 Mercury retrograde, and we're already in the Mercury retrograde. So for some of us, we're feeling the shadow period. We were feeling it in March, and then April 1st, it's no joke. We started this eclipse season as well as the Mercury retrograde, right? So it's double whammy, and there's a lot going on. But I think that's what, on the cosmic level, what we're asked to do is to stretch ourselves, to look from a different angles. And the looking things from many different angles, that's easy for me. That's because, you know, when you grow up in another country, but also when you speak a totally different language than the 26 letters of alphabets, I was taught to look at Chinese characters, and, you know, characters are more images. So a lot of my information will come through to me through images. So that's how I use my intuition and decipher what the images are saying to me. So just as a side note, everyone. But so solar eclipse is, and I'm going to talk about intermittent fasting, how to support your body, and then all that. But before and during and after solar eclipse, there's going to be this sudden loss of sunlight, right? Due to the moon passing in front of the sun. And that's very, very important that we understand that the sun is the more of the yang energy. And all of the sun in the yang energy, there's this yin energy that comes right in front of it. And this time, total solar eclipse. So it's totally covering some of your like energetic fields of the yang. You could call it masculine energy, you know, you could call it the circadian rhythm. That gets overshadowed by the lunar cycles. And then it gets overshadowed by the tidal, circa tidal, we call it, and then circa lunar cycles and rhythms. And we're going to bring the subconscious on top of the conscious minds, right? So in the camera, so the moon is going to be the subconscious, and then in the conscious mind is going to be behind that. So we will be really working through some of our subconscious minds that are controlling most of us. Okay. 96, 97%, you know, and then Jeneth knows all about this because she works on that subconscious mind, right? So that this is a great time to really practice that kind of things, whether it's hypnosis, whether it's working through the subconscious minds through some of your other methods. Great time, because cosmically you're being supported, and it's not just at the solar eclipse period or the time, but start looking at this now, like literally today and over the weekend, and prepare yourself for Monday and then several days after that. So, and physiologically, what the shadow, the darkness, the moon that is going to come right in front of the sun, what that does to our physical body is that it drops a lot of different things. It dials all of us down a little bit. So be conscious of that. Be gentle with each other too, with yourself too. And not what that means is that your metabolism can go down and your digestive fire. So that's the Agni for Ayurvedic words. If you're familiar with Ayurveda, that's going to drop. Your vitality could drop. So you might be noticing already that you don't have a lot of energy to put to other people's issues, or, you know, you might be getting a little bit touchy, okay, like live wire kind of thing, and as small little things that wouldn't bother you will be bothering you, because those are kind of the subconscious reactions that are starting to come up, because normally we can be more conscious of your reactions to certain things, and you can kind of coach yourself, you can meditate on it, and longer you've been doing the spiritual work, you know how to kind of navigate these things. But you may even also find, even Dalai Lama may find himself getting irritated this next couple of days, right? So, or a week also. So just kind of pay attention to that. And in addition to the drop in these physical, like Agni, the fire, the metabolism, you may also experience decrease in mental focus, because everything gets dialed down. Remember, everything gets dialed down, right? The solar power gets overshadowed. So not just dialed down, but many of you will feel the mental focus isn't quite there. And you just need to give yourself a little bit of time. Maybe you need to write things down a little bit more. Usage of sticky notes really come in right now. You know, that's a good one. And the mental processing memory can be a little bit, maybe like you can't rely on your memory. You know, you can't rely on everything. You just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to remember these 5 things. Well, you know what? Instead of forcing yourself to do that, just write those 5 things down. Okay. usage of those note taking can be really good. Decision making can be a little tough right now. So, and it's not just the Mercury retrograde. We got the double whammy of the Mercury retrograde. Don't make new decisions, don't sign new contracts. I mean, we already know those things, right? The people that are listening to this, I don't need to go into, you need to double check and triple check your emails before you send it, backup. You already know this stuff. But we also have the solar eclipse energy that comes in. So don't be making really important decisions like buying a home over the weekend. If you could push that a little bit, please do, because it will help you not to go into the signing the dotted lines right now. Okay. And you may also struggle setting some goals and solving some problems. And that's okay. Okay. You don't need to solve everything. You don't need to come up with new goals right now. It's just what it is. Okay. So I have a lot more to say, but energetically and emotionally, maybe I'll do the energetically and emotionally, and then I can come back to the physical, because I have a lot more to say about the physical side, but I'll do that and I'll pause, and I'll love to hear your thoughts on this. But it's time for you to really be kind, not just yourself, but all of us, because all of us are feeling the emotions coming up to surfaces. And some of these emotions that you have no idea where they even came from, which past lives, which ancestors, which planetary systems, we really don't know. Some of these emotions are going to be surfacing. Like I said, it's the time when your iceberg gets kind of flipped upside down. Okay. So the image of the iceberg, and I forgot to grab it because I have actually a color image that I show it to my clients a lot, but it's that tip of the iceberg gets flipped, and it's all this deep, deep emotions going to surface, and you're going to find yourself kind of surprised by it all. Okay. And some of you that are really wanting to control things are going to be really struggling. So just let go. This is a conversation we had last time, a month ago with this. It's that kind of the surrendering to what is, because what's happening on the cosmic level is so much bigger than what you can control. Okay. So hard to hide some of your patience, like you will lose the patience with your kids, or, your partners, or co-workers, or even like staying in line at Costco. I was like, oh my God, I'm losing my patience, So, and then I don't usually react to some of the emails that I receive because, inevitably my work is all about working with people's health, and people, if you're healthy, you won't be working with me, correct? Right. So most of the emails that I get are, these are the things that it's not going well for me. These are the suffering that I'm going through. So I have to say 98% of my emails are generally, what do? I have all these issues. Okay. And this is the time that I'm openly asking my clients and people that follow me to send me some positive things that you're experiencing, because I could use that so that I can remain available for what you're going through, because we're all kind of walking on the thin ice. Okay. So I think that's really important to notice that, right? And you might find yourself, like I say, reacting to small things that you normally wouldn't. So you just let your family know that's what's happening, and everybody can hold the space together. Okay. And I mentioned that the live wire feeling, like easily triggered things. So imagine like a electrician came and fixed the lights, or, the wiring or something like that. And then he or she left that live wire. I mean, you wouldn't want to touch that because that's dangerous, right? So that's the kind of a buzzing feeling that many of us are going to be feeling for the next week or so, but especially Monday, Sunday, I would say Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's going to be a little bit irritating. So notice if you're easily angered, easily overstressed and overwhelmed, maybe agitated easily, and you're going to feel like instability, because solar eclipses, can you just imagine? I just want you to imagine thousands and thousands of years ago, our ancestors, just maybe doing their day-to-day hunting and gathering and whatnot, right? And all of the sudden, they look up and the sun is gone, or they start to see the darkness come in. Okay. Total solar eclipses are amazing. You really need to, if you have a chance, please get the safety glasses, and you do want to experience it because it's amazing. It's truly life-altering experience. My husband and I have done that when it went through Colorado several years ago. But it's really scary. Okay. So our ancestors' thoughts and emotions of fear and this is the end of the world. Can you just please hold the space for our ancestors when they didn't quite understand what this was about? That fear and anxiety that all came up and they didn't know exactly what to do, right? So that can actually resurface in you because our tissues hold our DNA. Our fascia holds our memories, but our fascia is also your kind of pages that we hold all our ancestors' history also. Okay, so be conscious of that. If you have a tendency to be OCD, that can actually show up as well. So knowing is the first step, I think, becoming aware of this is happening. Then you can hold it all lightly and softly and gently and be kind to who you are and to others as well. And so I mentioned about the fear and even like failure of your own life can really resurface. And you just start to feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm a failure. I've put this goal and I'm working on it since January or February and nothing has manifested the way I wanted. And you start to really get overly critical of yourself. And the last thing that I was really feeling compared to the last year's solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, but particularly last solar eclipse that we had in November, that energy was still playing out all the way up to end of March. And that energy had a lot to do with, I mentioned this in my course and my YouTube that I recorded last year all throughout the solar eclipse, is that resentment and regret and revenge really surfaced last time. So you might be still processing that, and you might have processed it. If you didn't, those will probably resurface again. But this solar eclipse, one word came to me, and it's resistance. Is resistance to want to lean in to who you're meant to be on this earth, resistance to start addressing your physical health. I'm bumping up against that a lot with my clients. A lot of clients and people that follow me are just on this like journey to collect more information. They're just collecting more information and they're resistant in actually doing some of these suggestions. So if you're finding yourself that you're just became a collector of this tool, that tool, I'm going to do that cleanse and I'm going to do that thing, and you're just not quite focused in, this solar eclipse will make you, like literally will sit you down again and say, sit down here, we're going to have a conversation. You are resisting. So you want to get clear on what you're resisting. Okay. So I pause here, much more to say, but that's it.
I've been playing with surrender to create. And I did a hypnosis the other day that I've listened to about 8 times on, how to flow like into wealth, or rest and receive, and, rest and be taken, kind of that kind of energy. And this makes me feel like it just bumped right up against exactly what I wanted to hear today. The intention is actually control. When we make an intention, we want to do our goals, and what I hear you're saying is actually you never need an intention almost. And now this is recalibrating that need for force, that need for control, that need for fight. When I tapped into it and what I said before you started was that I feel like it's sort of like squeezing our depression and anxiety, and which I think of as depression as the past and anxiety as worry for the future. And I feel like I'm being squeezed where both of them are coming up right now. Just my energetic theory. So
Mm.
there's a lot that I've said on that, but that's kind of my thoughts. Um, how would you recalibrate what I just said?
Yeah, so I just did a video about the Mercury retrograde, and it was a short one, but basically, when you go through things like this, we are in the liminal space. So, Jeneth, you are really tapping into the same thing that I'm tapping into also. And what I recommended to everyone is that, and then hear this out without judging, that's a better choice and that's a wrong choice. It's not good or bad here. Okay. The thing is, you want to tap into your own heart center, drop down into your heart center. That's very important. So the word dropping down is a great image, okay? Because we get so head heavy, and that's what's going to be happening. But drop down and make the decision that this month that Mercury retrograde is on, and the solar eclipse and an eclipse season, post eclipse season, is going to continue for 2 more weeks. So we're in it. This entire month is kind of like that. We're going to get a little break at the end of this month, but only about 3 days, 4 days. Okay. But during that time, you want to make a decision that says, am I moving forward in my life? Or is this the time, is this the month that I'm going to spend reflecting and reassessing and remembering some of the things that I actually need to revisit? And a lot of people just want to move forward. Okay. But then I've also met people that just want to keep reflecting, and they don't do anything to move forward either. So this is when you have to stand in the liminal space and turn yourself around so that you can look at your subconscious patterns, just like the moon is doing for you. Okay, the moon is going to come and creates this big shadow, or completely locks in the darkness so that you can face the light that is trying to shine inside. So at that point, you can make the decision and say, I am going to actually choose to move forward this time, this month. Or for some of you, you actually do need to reflect. So we are given both choices. Cosmically, it's not like one is a better choice or the other. But I think when you live, particularly in the Western culture, and I'm going to bring up more of a United States. I know many people from all over the world is listening, but the United States, which is relatively a young country, we tend to have this tendency to want to move forward because we want to create more history in the future. Okay.
Mm.
And we don't do a lot of reflections. And I'm only speaking intuitively for people that live in the United States. I do think that some of the reflections are going to be very important. And it may be, and I'm talking about more of a political standpoint and maybe from a historical standpoint. This is, I think, why the Civil War popped into my psyche to look at the map, because there's this internal conflicts, right? Deep, deep conflicts that basically cut through our country and destroyed so much. And many of you live on the land where so much blood was shed.
Mm.
So I think it's important that we take a moment and reflect on that. Maybe, give flower petals to the grounds that your house is built on, maybe your yard, maybe visit some of these old grave sites. Really, really important. And when you do that, the country can also move forward. And what happens in the United States has a tsunami effect on the rest of the world. And this is not to say that the United States is such a big country and is so powerful. The fact is, what we do here really impacts the rest of the world. And I don't think anybody can deny that. Growing up in another country across the Pacific Ocean, what was happening in the US was impacting my life there because we all look to this country. So it's so interesting that this great solar eclipse is happening all across that region where so many people have died historically, even our history, the modern history as we know it, and we're not, counting the natives, right? We should be counting that into this history as well. But all the battlegrounds that we have really destroyed so many people's lives, that can actually resurface, and you're like, why am I feeling this tremendous sorrow and grief? And when that surfaces, you want to pause and say, okay, I'm going to honor this and I'm going to reflect on that so that we can move forward. Okay. So I hope it went into a little bit of a different directions, but, and then I wanted to say one thing about the intentions. And Jeneth, you bring in a very interesting point, because I think most people that end up getting stuck and stagnant in their lives, whether it's financial, whether it's with their health or relationships, they set intentions, and that's where most of the times just ends. We have nothing but intention notebooks,
Oh.
but I think we need to surrender some of those intention notebooks, and really have a serious conversation with your own subconscious limitations over the weekend. And you have to really have this conversation with yourself. No one else can really guide you through this, but you got to get real. You got to get truthful. You got to be so realistic with yourself and say, listen, Masami, like, I'm going to have this conversation with myself. It's like, listen, Masami, you are putting all these intentions, but you're not taking the steps. Where are the actions?
Or
And
not.
that's where
I
I want
think
to.
it's, because you're still making it sound like you have to make an intention and then do something, right? I really think that it's more about becoming it. Like, fuck the intention. Sorry for my language. Sorry if that offended anybody. I felt weird now I said it. But I'm thinking, right, literally, I know at yoga classes they're like set an intention for this moment in this practice. And I think that's beautiful, right? Because it's just this 1 hour that you're setting an intention to be present. And maybe it should actually be called a decision or something, or a choice. But I feel that, when people are just like always like intention, 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 but they're not actually becoming a frequency to create that, then they don't go anywhere. Nothing changes. So it was
Well,
kind of,
I think it's a kind of a circle, for some of us, we do need to make the intention so that they can start to work with people or start to shift their angle of how they've been doing or how they've been living. So the intention is there, but a lot of us are, that's it. That's the end of it, end of the story.
not
So it's,
actually an energy that creates.
yeah, so it has to be a circle, that keeps moving. It's the wheel. We have to create the wheels inside us so that we can move forward, right? So, yeah, I get what you're saying. And at the same time, some of us may not have done enough self-work enough to be able to abandon the intention yet, so I think there's like a hero's journey kind of a thing, where are you in your hero's journey with this, right?
Yeah, no. Well, let's talk a little bit about like stones we can use, bodies, and like supplements that we might want to think about, even if it's just more water or more vegetables or whatever. What are some of your suggestions around this time?
And
Yeah,
even
so
and
yeah, go ahead.
even some of the messages too that we might be receiving,
Mm.
how to be open to those.
Messages we're receiving. We'll get there.
I
I think
gotcha. I'm all eager.
messages are, I think it's a little bit more individual, bio individual, right? And so my job and I know, Lyanca, you're new to my work, but my job is not to really get caught up in the messages. My job is for you to become a clear conduit.
Mm.
That's my work, right? There are plenty of people that are channeling things and they're talking about it. They can do the pulling oracle cards. I mean, I do them. I have several decks right here too, and I can channel things, but I'm able to do that because I take care of my physical body to make sure that
Gotcha.
I'm not stagnant, right? So
Yes, I do understand what you're saying.
that's what I'm more interested in it, because
Yeah.
I'm not here to give you a collective message, because I don't channel one thing, right? And then to me, that becomes a little bit more of a religious Christianity that comes in for me. When you grow up in a culture that does not believe in singular God or angels, I didn't grow up with angels, so I don't connect with them at all. I have
Hmm.
no connections with the images of angels, you know, so that's the East meets West for you. I connect with nature because in my culture, the Shinto, we see everything as God.
Yeah.
When you hop over a rock, you just hopped over a god. You know, I mean, rock is a god, right? Ooh, that just rhymes nicely. Okay. Or some people will like step over a book, right? Like if you were reading books on the ground, or like you left some book piles on the ground and then people step over the books. Oh my God, that makes me freaked out, because the books are gods to
Mm.
me. Okay.
Wow.
Right. So you know, just be aware
Yeah,
everything you
I think
have.
that was more of my question. Being
Yeah.
aware.
That's good. I
Yeah, like
love
how
this
can we be more aware?
conversation so much. My
Yeah.
in my father was a minister of the church, and he never let us ever put anything on the Bible. Like the Bible always was the top. Nothing touched the Bible. And
Right.
I always thought that that was kind of weird, but now you're saying like not even respect for just this one thing, respect for it all.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and there's
Got it.
power in that. Way
Yeah.
much more power than just this one book,
Right.
right?
So it's really not just about, you know, let's go and you want to earth yourself and be barefoot and hug a tree. I mean, sure, those are all awesome things. You know, I have also told people to do, you know, be with nature, but nature isn't, I mean, when you look at the book, where did the book come from? It came from the nature. Nothing on this earth can be made without the all elements of this earth, right? So it's yeah, honor everything you can all the time. And one of the things that I talk about all the time with these kind of a cosmic level changes is that you want to make sure that your entrances are cleaned. Okay.
Mm.
Because many guides and angels, if you want to have angels in your mix, if you want to have ancestors, you know, if you want to have tree gods come through, whatever, you want to make sure that your entrance are not full of your dirty shoes and socks and dirty doormats. Oh my God, dirty doormats drives me nuts. Okay. Those are like my least favorite things when I go to people's homes. I just want to like clean them for them, because it's not pristine enough to welcome these spirits and gods and energies to flow through you. And all these Amazon boxes and piles of things that clear them out. Okay. So that's
Okay.
something you really, really want to do. Okay. So then I'm going to
Thank
come back
you.
to, so clearing not just your home, but this body is your home, right? So always think of it through that lens. And that's the work I do, is to come up with ways to clear and remove. And coming back to the solar eclipse is the time that I said that your metabolism can slow down, because there's a sudden darkness, right? Sudden cooling. So think of yin energy that's coming straight into the yang energy and makes our bodies really confused. Okay. It's a very confusing time and stressful time for the physical body to go through this. So be aware. So that means you want to ignite the pitta energy. So those of you that know Ayurveda, this is the time to bring back your fire quality. This is the digestive fire. This is the time that you want to reignite heat inside you. So ways that you can ignite the heat is to support your digestion, right? Because you may experience indigestion. And when you experience indigestion of the carbohydrates are going to ferment, right? And if you're eating too much protein prior to the solar eclipse, then that protein is not going to digest very well. So the putrefaction of the protein can happen, and putrefaction of protein is extremely toxic, and that can cause you to have even more of a lymphatic system's congestions, which is the lymphatic system of the brain. And it can cause you to have more mood swings, but more brain fog, right? And fats can go into, they can get rancid. So, what you want to focus on is, this is not the time, like right before the solar eclipse, is not the time to be consuming a huge amount of food. Okay, so in Texas, the local time is about 1:30, 1:27, I think precisely, is when the solar eclipse is happening. In the Maine, it's going to move, right? So it's going to end around 3:30 or so around in Maine. Please check, double check your local time for that. But you want to be aware that the solar eclipse is happening around this time in your local time. And so during the solar eclipse, I don't recommend people eating food. Okay.
No
Because
moon pies.
Say it again.
Lyanca's like, come to my house and watch the eclipse with us. We've got moon pies.
Yeah. So have those moon pies afterwards.
I gotcha. We'll
Yeah,
do,
so-
duly noted.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be having parties, drinking, guacamole and chips, and oh my goodness, you name it, people are grilling out there. I just, please, take some time to watch it, be still, be in awe. Some cultures, like where I grew up, in some other cultures, don't recommend actually looking directly at the solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse, because they will mess with your spirits. But that's another conversation, and I'm not going to go into it, okay? Because this is a cultural differences. I don't look at full moon directly, just so for your information, right? I don't look at the moon, especially full moon, directly. Okay, that was a total no-no growing up in a country like Japan. Okay, but that's just a side note, right? But make sure that you are not over consuming foods before, okay, and during. And I would probably wait a little bit and maybe start with the warm water with a pinch of salt, maybe some minerals in your water to warm your internal body. Then you can probably start to consume foods, but foods that are really cooling to our system. So, but before I give you the list of that, I want to maybe introduce a couple of supplements. You could ask me supplements. I actually did bring a couple of supplements so that I can talk about it too. But when your metabolism is going down, your digestion is going down, your digestive fire is low. That means your hydrochloric acid production is also going to get dialed down. Okay. Remember, you go from the middle of the day to middle of the night, basically. That's what's happening to your physical body. So you want to support your digestion through using the hydrochloric acid, betaine hydrochloric acid. And the one that I use is called the HCO Complete from Zorex. And the reason why I like this, and this works so well, is because it's got the extracted apple cider vinegar acid only, not the apple cider vinegar, everyone. Okay, I'm not a fan of apple cider vinegar whatsoever. Okay, people are taking them unless I have worked with you and there's certain conditions that could be helped by that, then that's a different story. But this is an extracted acid only part. So when you open it and you smell it, there's this beautiful smell of apple cider vinegar in here. So this is the kind of thing you want to use in order for you to digest the foods, the party foods that you're going to be eating after solar eclipse. Okay. Use that to digest, because if you don't, what happens is the undigested foods will make their way into the small intestine. And the small intestine is a very alkaline space. Okay. So it's pH wise is alkaline. So it's above 7.0 in the pH scale. But the foods that are undigested, if they make their way into the small intestine, which is happening to almost all of us, okay, it can acidify the small intestine. And that's really hard on that region. And that's going to acidify what's happening in your blood. Okay. And blood does not like to be acidified. That's when you are going to be, I mean, I know I'm going into total
So
nutrition
what
side. Sorry.
about
This is,
could would alkaline water be something you'd recommend too?
so I'm absolutely against
Mm,
alkaline water.
okay.
Zero alkaline water. Okay. So alkaline water is a gimmick.
Okay.
Alkalinization machines that people pay thousands of dollars to put into their water system, complete gimmick. Okay.
What
So you
about
have different,
natural, like mineral-based alkaline?
it's fine, but you have to support your digestion,
Okay.
because the main problem is that the foods that you're not digesting is acidic. So these sludgy foods, the chyme, the things that's going through your system is actually originally a bit very acidic. Okay. So the acidity has to be turned into alkaline in the duodenum, but that cannot happen if your stomach is not acidic enough. Okay. So it gets a little bit too complicated, so I'm not going to go into it, but basically support your digestion. Okay. That's a key.
And ask your body, I guess, should be put in here as well. Like, I mean, if nothing's going on, I mean, nothing's going on with you. So I feel like that needs to be put out there to ask your body as well. Like, what does your body need to support?
I know. And Jeneth, you and I are going to have an interesting conversation around this too. So
Okay,
I
cool.
think
I
it's
love
both.
these.
It's both, right? It's never either or, right? It's both and. So here's the issue with asking your body. So I work with a lot of clients who will say, I've been muscle testing, because I do teach them how to do the muscle testing on themselves, right? But when their body is clogged up, lymphatic system is clogged, they're constipated for days on end, okay? And their skin is not detoxifying, their lungs are not breathing deeply. And, lungs are huge in terms of detoxifications. I just want all of us to know that. And their brain is congested and they're muscle testing themselves. And I muscle test them through the Zoom call. And I would say, no, I'm getting a completely opposite of what you're saying to me. And then we do some clearing and we work on some things. And then I have them I test the supplements for them in my body. And then I have them tested on their bodies. Complete different things will happen. So ask your body, sure, up to a certain point. But if you have all these congestions in your body, your answers may not be exactly what your body is trying to tell you. You're just not hearing what the body is trying to say, because you can't, because your glass of water is too muddy. So it's both. It's, yes, please listen to your
That
body.
makes
That's
total
not where
sense.
you want to end our conversation, right?
No, I love this. It's funny because my sister has cravings, and I was like, well, look what you've been eating. Like, of course, you're eating high fructose corn syrup, a ton of like soda and dairies. And, it's like, yeah, of course. She's like thinking her body is asking for more sugar when it actually is from the candida. So,
Right. Yeah.
I get that. And I get that that's just one example of it too.
Well, and then that's a very important example, because as we head into these solar eclipses and things like that, our microbes get excited, right? Parasites get excited. They get really thrown off also. And we have to remember that we have 10 times more microbial cells than human cells. So
Mhm.
when we speak, we're not human beings having conversations. Ultimately, we're microbes having human experience. Okay. So, we ended at the, spirit having a human experience. Well, that's a great notion, everyone. I get that. And that's a beautiful poetic way to say that the human beings are spirits having spirits having a human experience. Okay. But I also would add another sentence, which is we are microbes having human experience. And
Mhm.
so we have to be contending with both and both, basically. And when the spiritual communities only talk about ascensions and light, and we just need to be light, and we just need to be, bringing in the light workers, and it's like, well, but that you as a light worker is full of microbes that need support. So when you get sugar cravings, it's not you per se, but the microbes that you've been feeding for the last 3 weeks have grown exponentially in numbers, and they are going to let your brain know to reach for more sodas and sugar. So where do you draw the line? It gets completely blurred. And so this is when you have to have a real conversation with yourself and say, I want to be this spirit having this human experience, but I also need to support my digestion. I also need to be aware that I am a host to a host of things. Okay. So that's that. And then take care of your small intestine, during the solar eclipse, because your SIBO issues may come up, your irritable bowel syndrome symptoms may come up. If you have Crohn's disease or other autoimmune conditions, that could get irritated. So this is why, please don't eat a lot of food prior to. I actually tell all my clients, please don't eat anything about 4 hours before the solar eclipse, and not during the solar eclipse either. And I would wait a little bit, warm up your body first, then start to consume. But, obviously that's bio-individual. If you have, blood sugar dysregulations, you're diabetic, you may, you absolutely need to find ways to support your blood sugar, right? So that's not a blanket statement, but that's something that you want to pay attention to. So this is when I personally, and I recommend to my group that we do intermittent fasting before the solar eclipse. And what I do is that I stop eating about 6 o'clock or so the night before, and I don't consume anything till after the solar eclipse. And
Yeah.
that can be very, very helpful. And usage of a pinch of sea salt in your water can be really good. This is something I grew up learning in Japan, is that the salt is a very warming mineral, and the salt has been vilified, especially in the Western culture, as, high blood pressure, you shouldn't eat salt, you shouldn't put any salt. I work with a lot of people that are salt-free diet. I mean, it's insane. If you taste your blood, you are the ocean. Okay. You are 99% on the plasma level. You are this ocean water. You need salt, but we have been consuming wrong kind of salt, right? We're consuming the chemically produced salt. So get yourself really good sea salt and muscle test yourself on sea salts. I muscle test people's sea salts all the time because everybody goes for the cheap ones. Everybody wants to buy the pink Himalayan salt, and pink Himalayans don't work for most people, to be honest with you, because do your ancestors come from Himalayas? Did any of you came from the, Pakistan area, or, part of the northern India? Then, go for it. Okay. I'm good with that. Okay. I do actually well with the pink Himalayan salt because I do have that background, the Mongols and the Great Plains of China. My family ancestors come from that. I do actually okay with pink Himalayans. But if you don't have those ancestors, you may just need to be looking at deeply into other salts. Okay. So those are, I'll just stop for a moment here because the main point is that please don't bombard your body with a bunch of foods, before and during.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of concluded that the Himalayan sea salt is the best salt. And it's very tasty. So I actually currently use a Celtic salt, but and it literally was on a shelf that my body was like, yeah, let's get that. So sometimes I wonder with me just being kind of steeped in nutrition that and doing this that I'm clearer than
I do think so, Jeneth.
most.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you are because you have to clean out your cells, right?
Yeah.
At the quantum level, we have to
Yes.
be addressing that, and to work on the quantum field, you have to clear your cells.
Yeah.
And the cell receptors are always wanting to have information. Cell receptors are ready to receive the guidance from coming from all directions, including hormones, right? Hormones are just basically messengers, and we produce 50, 60 different hormones. So those are basically hormones are basically reaching out to you, trying to communicate with you. But if your receptors are congested, which how could you not be congested? Okay, we live in this world
World.
that is over,
I think we can just end it right there. We live
yeah,
in this world.
yeah. So if you don't have receptor sites clearing and cleaning as part of your routine, you're gonna have a hard time really hearing what it is that your body needs.
I have this weird question for you.
Mhm.
Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on chakra clearing to clear out some of this mess?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. You want to do that,
Okay.
but don't end it there.
But don't
See,
rely on just that. It's
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
right. Don't just end it there. It's and both. Right.
Hmm.
So, a lot of people do chakra clearing. And this is great. But then what are you waking up in the morning with? You do the chakra clearing and then you're drinking nothing but caffeine all day. So that's where we have,
Sometimes bodies like caffeine.
and
She
I'm
said
good
all
with
day.
I'm good with it. I love a cup of Joe, I love
Yeah.
it, and I have nothing against coffee, because coffee is a phenols, polyphenols that are really, really helpful for antioxidants and for aging, for gracefully aging. Coffee can do beautiful things. And coffee can be used in a way that it will surprise you. That's fantastic. Not just coffee enema, but there are many, many things you can use coffee for. So it's good. It's just, let's not do chakra clearing and the rest of the day you are just
Your body.
doing things to harm your cells. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Well, this has been a fun call. I know we're like coming up on the hour. And
Yeah.
I do want
Fascinating.
to talk about your special offer because it is very unique for one. And it's also very supportive of the body. So and I'd also like to take some caller questions. If you guys want to chime in on the chat, I'd love to take your questions as well. Um,
And Jeneth, can you go through my special offers on your side? I really need to take a moment and go pee. So
Yes. Yes.
I think Masami drinks too much water. I think she had to pee last time.
I don't think it's anything. I think she just drinks probably the right amount of
Right
water
amount
and
of
we probably
water,
need
and
to
it
step
takes
it up.
every hour.
Yeah. She's just really in tune with her body. And it's
Yeah.
fascinating, right, Jeneth? I mean, and you as a nutritionist, I do think that you're very, very clear in your messages. And you know my backstory. So I know I have some, I don't want to say work to do, but I'm inspired. I hope others are inspired too
Yeah,
uh
don't
get
you
more
think
to clear out their bodies.
some of this stuff is just simple changes too?
Right?
I think that, I don't do everything right. You know, I I I truly feel like we just need to make choices around what do we really, you know, what are we okay with, maybe for the lack of a better word. As far as like I know I can overdo things,
Me too.
in a, eggs I mean, I don't know, I'm obsessed with morning eggs. And I just know, but I do know that my body's thinking, Jenna, this is a little too much. Uh, so I don't know. It's not enough that it's affecting me, but I am thinking maybe I do eggs less. And I guess if
Okay,
it's
so
only an egg, I'm not too bad. It's not like I'm eating Takis like my daughter or those hot Cheetos. I'm like, "Oh, stop."
They're
I
so
Well,
tasty though.
at least the hot Cheetos, the United States finally said they're gonna stop making it with the food coloring number 5.
Good.
So
Yeah.
that's a good sign, And then speaking of the water, so I try to drink a lot of water in the morning. Not try to, but it's just what my body needs in the morning.
yeah.
And so the morning hours, no, I haven't peed for like 4 hours. So
I
I
have on my checklist to pee
had
before
to
our
go.
calls. I mean, I literally do.
But
But
you can't overconsume water. If you're just like bored and sipping on water all day long, please don't do that either. Just be conscious, like when do I need it? Morning hours, you need to drink a lot of water.
I think better to be bored and sip on water than be bored and sip on something else.
Of course.
I've done
Or
that.
Cheetos, yes.
Yes.
I've done both.
Let's go ahead and share your special offer real quick. Um, and then if you want to take some questions, I'm happy to take some questions as well. I mean, you're just like such a wealth for this. And I just, I feel like you're the only person that can really speak to this in the way that you do, that
I
really
agree.
understands both the frequencies of it as well as the actual physical body with it. Um,
Yeah.
Masami, do you want
Uh,
to go through these four
yeah,
different?
so this course is probably the summary of what I talked about today. That please become the conduit of these frequencies in the world. And I call it the 4 Bs is because you clear your lungs and your breath and work through some of these congested areas. So we do the brain, we do the bile, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about, right? It's to have the bile flow. Okay. You want to have a flow in your bile. And most people, as we get older, and I would probably almost say practically everyone's bile is going to start to get very, very congested. So we don't produce enough healthy bile in the liver. And if you don't produce healthy bile, it can't do its job to clean it out. Yeah, right there, Jeneth. So we got the brain, right? So, I mean, the brain, but the breath, we work on the breath work, but it's a very different kind of breath work than taking a deep breaths. And I in fact don't ever use the word generally to say take a deep breath, because it's not about deep breath. It's actually slow breath that we should be taking. And I go into much more details about the breath and the brain, clearing the brain. So we go into lymphatic system. So clearing the lymphatic system, the brain. And when you clear the brain of the debris of your karmic energy, so you can see that including karmic debris, ancestral patterns and traumas and emotions, old thoughts and habits and more. So I will teach you tools how to clear your brain so that you're not just carrying on the same patterns next day, right? Over and over and over. Most
Ooh,
of us
that was
just,
like the hypnosis I was talking about that
yeah,
to clear out so that you don't keep going back to the past.
right. So if you can do this kind of work while you're doing the trauma work or while you're doing hypnosis. So let's say if you had a session with Jeneth, right? And then you did the hypnosis, go to the brain chapter and do the motions and do the work that I'm sharing, the tools. I share so many tools on this. So you can do some of these things to clear it. So you're not just addressing it, but you're clearing it. So that's the part that we have to pay attention to. It's not just about digestion. It's not just about us, eating right, but are you pooping? That is a key. Are you eliminating? So this course is about how do you move your body so that you can become the conduit. Okay. And then you can be the best version of you. And the bio, I've mentioned it, but the bio came to me in my dreams as a cosmic golden liquid, and it's connecting to heaven and earth. And most of us have a really, really stagnant bile, right? In the United States, we're moving about 1.2 million gallbladders per year now. So it's ridiculous at this point that we're removing so many gallbladders. So we need to support the bile. And when you support the bile, your finance gets supported. I've seen this over and over and over because the golden liquid starts flowing through your body. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to work on my bile. So I was working on it in the morning. And right before I went to work out with my friend, I was like, gorgeous, beautiful, brand new 3 pennies right there. I thought, okay, the universe is saying, the universe loved the fact that I worked on my bile that morning, so
That's
things like
it. You
those.
just got pennies for that.
Yeah, but I love
It
it
was a
though.
message. That's right.
It
I
was a
love
message, yeah. It
Yeah, I
was a
love
sign
receiving the 3 pennies. Yeah.
of
And
that.
then the boundaries is when we go into the small intestinal health, because boundary practice is not just about, creating the aura space, clearing the aura space. It's not just about chakra clearing, but it's really about becoming stronger inside in your boundaries of the lining of the small intestine so that you don't get knocked down so easily, not so overwhelmed. So if you're listening to something like this and you are like overwhelmed, with the speed of stuff that I'm sharing, your boundaries are somewhat compromised. Those are some of the things. If you feel like agitated, frustrated, and overwhelmed, it's like, I can't. Boundaries, okay? Your internal boundaries need to be addressed. And basically, I gave like, where's the meditations? Oh my gosh, the meditations are crazy. Yeah, you could keep going down. And then I actually, if you go back up a little bit, Jeneth, there's a interview, Cosmic Flow interview that I gave. Oh, that's an enrollment, but there's an interview from the Shift Network that's a bonus. And then I do, if you keep going down, energy medicine toolkit comes with it. And that's 7 senses, 7 chakra meditation. If you go down the check marks there, you have 7 meditations on the 7 chakras. And I have tree meditation for liver and gallbladder balance, because there's this hepatic tree that you need to support. So there's a tree connections with the liver and gallbladder. And then there's so many meditations, like I don't even know how many hours of it, but yeah, if you go down, you see the 7 chakra meditations, you get the tree meditation, and you have a balancing 2 wings meditation of there's the nervous system balancing as well, but the yin and yang, and breath work for digestive strength. That'll be a good one right there. That will be awesome for this solar eclipse as well. And then coming home to your body, I'm all about you coming back to this physical body. This is your home. So that's a good one too. And the Soham meditation, oh my God, that one's is very special because my husband intuitively played harmonium for me. And I used his harmonium music and recorded my Soham meditation. And if you've never done a Soham meditation, oh man, it is so beautiful. It will shift who you are. I can guarantee the Soham meditation will shift who you are. Yeah. So there's a lot in there. I just decided to just like pile it on. So
I love this.
look into it. Yes.
Yeah. So 7 meditations down here.
It's actually 14 meditations because you get 7 with the chakra alone. The 7, yeah. So it's 14 meditations.
That's wow.
And all of these calls above, they aren't like, short little things. I mean, they are, like an hour and a half. So this is a very big course, you guys.
It's very in depth.
I'm gonna drop.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh my goodness. So do little at a time, bite sizes, do brain 1 week or 2 weeks and continue to work on it and then introduce the bile. But if you're gonna get this for before solar eclipse, then I probably would start with the brain chapter.
Yeah.
Breath and brain, breath and brain, but the brain might be a really good one to start with.
I guess
I know I need
brain fog too, right?
Yes.
That'd be great.
And then would you also suggest doing the meditations throughout while you're learning the course part?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. And if you're doing the 7 chakra meditations, I would actually start with this time with the first chakra. Okay. Because solar eclipse will flip you a little bit. It's very disconcerting, you know, and it's like it's almost like a unbounding kind of thing. It'll make you not grounded. So the first chakra one will be great. And I go into senses, you know, so meaning like different senses we have, like the sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of that's connected to your chakras. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful.
Yes.
Masami, you're so profound in this. I don't even want to say this work. I mean, it's completely no secret. I mean, that you are gifted or have really tuned into and have listened and received and are open to receiving and sharing all of this information. Thank you so very much. Every time you come on, I'm just blown away. So thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you for that kind words. It means a lot to me. And I'm fully taking in because of the solar eclipse. I could use some of that. So thank you so much.
And
I wish I had better words to share, but that's
you
the
want
ones
to
that could
take
come
a
out.
few fillers, or are you needing to run?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I just peed, so I'm good to go for next 4 hours.
All right, you guys.
I will take the caller. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand, and Masami will take your question. If you want to type it in, you can do that as well. But any questions in regard to Mercury retrograde, questions regarding solar eclipse, and questions regarding support for the body.
Right. And I just pulled a card, one of the cards from Denise Lynn, and I'm just gonna look at that. That's just wonderful. It says delight. Oh wow, look at the sun coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll read that
Light in
bottom what it says.
everything in the
It
world.
says, I delight in everything in my world, and divine joy fills me. So this is what we are here to experience,
Mhm.
especially during this eclipse season.
Yeah.
And the Mercury retrograde as well. And don't be afraid of Mercury retrograde. I see it as blessings. Mercury retrograde is a beautiful blessings. So
I do too. Thank you for sharing that.
Grateful for everything. All right, Joe,
Joe?
do you
Yeah.
want to ask your question?
thanks, Richard.
This is going to sound like a strange question, but it's really actually leading in to all three things. So I'm going to start from back in August. I got this thing that came through to me. I've been sitting still for about 6 months. August was my birthday, and I got, you've been sitting still long enough. Time to move. So, because I had no real place to land, yeah, I scattered all over the place looking at things. That part, I think, has pretty much taken care of itself. That's here. Um, as I walk through it and listening to you, I was already feeling this back in August because what has started to come together, it started speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. And what I'm hearing through you is get this plan together before eclipse equinox and focus on that, because if you wait, it's not going to happen. And I'm asking you if that sounds like the right track. It seems like it to me. That's what I'm hearing.
Sounds like it. I got smile on my face, and I would say yes. So trust your inner knowing.
Okay, that works for me.
Excellent. Excellent.
Now is the time.
Yeah.
In that case.
Joe, you have a tendency to kind of overthink it. So stop it. Okay. You're on the right
Okay,
path.
I
You're
know
on
that. I'm working with that too. That's
yeah,
in
you're
the
on
plan.
you're on the right path, and you're on a beautiful path. So
As
just
I kind of
trust it.
tracked it backwards, what I got was This time around, when you jump in, you're either all in or you're all out. Make a decision before you jump.
You mean during the solar eclipse, are you talking about?
Everything,
Oh,
the whole spiritual thing. This time it was, you played around long enough. You're either all in or you're all out this time. Make the decision. I'm
yeah.
here.
This, you know, it's not just a solar eclipse, right? But the year of the dragon is not the year to be contemplating things, you know, and thinking about things and putting more intentions out there. You know, it's really, what are you here to express? You know, just just like the Nike, you know, just do it. Really. Just do it. Stop talking about it. Stop pretending that I'm going to do this or that, you know, and it's just that gets tiresome. So dragon is ready to transport you to many levels of who you are, and this, you get to explore so much this year, so go for it. So you got it,
And
Joe. So
to answer that, I'm all about
thanks.
dragon. I'm all about dragon. So there you go.
There you go, Joe, you got it. So trust yourself.
We've got one in the chat. Christina said, thank you, Joe. Christina said, hi, I was severely stressed last week and I got enormous pressure in my head and it came back and hasn't gone away. Totally. I can still feel it even though it's not in the same intensity. What do you think it is? Is it only stress? And it moved. Is it only stress or can it be something to do with this coming solar eclipse? How can I release and get rid of it? Christina said.
I got yes on the bile. I think the liver is congested in your body. So stress is not, we have to define stress, right? Stress is something that if your diet is not great, that's very, very stressful to your body. If your blood sugar is not balanced, it is so stressful to your body. You know, so we have to remember stress isn't always about external, you know, your relationships or your boss is telling you to do this, or your kids needing more picking up and dropping them off, and you're just getting stressed by the external energy, but there's a lot of internal stress. So that's where I go. I went straight to I was muscle testing you and I went straight to the bile. So I think your liver, gallbladder could use a little help. So that's where I would start. And you know, headaches are interesting. There are many kinds of headaches, and sometimes the headaches are a issue of your thyroid also, but your thyroid cannot have healthy expression of thyroid if your liver and gallbladder are congested, because your liver actually produces a particular enzyme that converts your T4 to T3. So, and Christina already said, wow. And I said, what can I do? Sort that out. Well, take my course, take the bile. You know, I go into so much detail there,
Hold on
and
just a second.
supplements and information there. So, you know, that's what I would do.
Yeah, it's from what we've heard over the years I've only been doing this a month, but my gosh, it feels like years, doesn't it? Um, Christina's been talking and she does have digestive things going on. So there's something that feels really light about that,
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
digestion, you know, is it's a stomach issue, but for most women, it's about the liver and gallbladder.
Hmm.
And if that's messed up and you're just not having a really healthy bile flow, your hormones go wacky. And that hormonal dysregulations can really impact your overall flow, but people can get headaches through
Hmm.
that too. So
Science.
you've got to correct and attend to your liver and gallbladder. And it's, I cannot answer that, Christina, like this in your, it's like, what can I do? There's so many. That's why I think the bile session is like almost 2 hours. on my program. It's because it's so giant. The topic is so big. It'll be medically disservice for me to just give you what to do. I think I would
You
start
go
with
through
stomach
things.
acid.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
Masami, do you go through like prebiotics and probiotics and fiber and soluble fiber and insoluble fiber and all those things during that one? I mean, is that what's in that?
No, it's really geared towards how to create better bile and
Okay.
then how to flow the bile better.
Okay.
And if you don't have a good bile flow, you shouldn't really be addressing probiotics anyway. It's just going to make your gut bloat. And
Oh, interesting.
probiotics will have a major issues in your body. And then you'll say to yourself, I just can't do probiotics. Well, that's because you didn't address north to south. It's all about north to south, right? So it's not about taking probiotics. In fact, most people don't do well with probiotics because they haven't addressed the stomach or the gallbladder or the liver, right? So it's always downstream. So yeah, no, I don't go into probiotics, but I do go
Okay.
into ways that, even like the massaging of the gallbladder and liver, how to address the movements of the bile. It's very
Cool.
hands-on, very hands-on. Yeah.
Oh, love that. I love
Yeah.
that even more now. That's why I was
No,
like,
because
I think I got this one pretty good.
I'm a somatic practitioner at heart, right? That's what I
Yeah.
did for years,
Very
right? I'm
cool.
a
And
yoga
breath work,
therapist. I'm
right?
a myofascial release,
Yeah.
Oh, I need you in my life. Okay. I said that last time. This
yeah,
time I'm
I'm
all in.
all about, I have to teach hands-on techniques. It's not
Yeah.
about take this supplement and do this. It's like, supplements are great. Supplements are wonderful. I love supplements, but you have to attend to your body using your own hands. So everything I teach uses your hands. We activate the hands and we place your hands in the right place, do certain movements and techniques to support your organs. So, and your brain too. When we
Cool.
do the lymphatic system, I teach you how to massage your brain. So,
Oh, I love
It's
that.
juicy,
yeah.
juicy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is an experience. This is like a hands-on
Yeah.
experience. This
Sometimes.
is not pop
Yeah.
this, pop, don't eat that, don't, eat that kind of a conversations. Had enough of
It's,
that, right?
yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, yeah. Even better. Wow.
Leanca,
Oh, wow.
see
So
if there's
Christina says she had her gallbladder removed. There you go. So my intuition went straight to your gallbladder. I was like, her bile's not flowing. So there you go. When you have your gallbladder removed, you are going to really struggle with the bile flow. And that's why, and then I go into it in my course too, but it's one of my favorite topics, just so you know. I can talk about gallbladder and liver for like next 30 days and will not run out of any things to share because I love that topic so much. And women need it
yeah.
because our gallbladder is so stagnant and sludgy. All of us. That's
Yeah.
why so many people are struggling with hormones.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
So I've worked with an acupuncturist specifically on those areas. Um, so I feel like there's another avenue too, like whatever you're called to.
Right.
Perfect. All right.
Any other questions?
Um,
I thought I saw one earlier.
yeah, I've seen there's a lot of comments here.
Yes, Anita, you and I are thinking same, huh? Aren't we? Because she said, so important for hormones.
Well, yeah, our last topic on menopause, I thought, well, here's another one that might be causing, it's sort of like it's like this, if things are good inside the body, then I think menopause goes pretty well. If things are disruptive in the body, especially the gallbladder and the liver, I think things start going like this very well.
You
Yura
got
has
it.
a question.
Yeah.
Yura says, and I think that's how you say your name. It says, "Hi, Masami. I used to, no. She said, I used to make a decision so easy, but now the last couple months, I'm very distraught. And now my throat is hurting for 10 days. What makes me feel so scared?"
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
What's her? Oh, I'm reading up. What now? My throat is hurting. Makes me feel so scared. What makes me? Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the question is. Okay, so now my throat is hurting. Okay, what makes me feel so scared? I think I kind of answered that today's call, right? In a way that's like it's an upside down experience right now. Eclipses are upside down, lunar or solar. It just throws us off completely. So, I think just really be aware of that fear that's coming up, right? But the throat center, and I'm not going to go down the road of fifth chakra and then you're not speaking your truth and all that. I mean, every other spiritual teachers will tell you that same thing.
I
But
think it's mostly that she
Mhm.
feels like she was like on it, making decisions,
Mm,
and now there's this disruption in
right.
her decision flow that she's like hesitant, holding back. Um,
Yeah, but everything isn't always progress, you know. Life has
I
ebb
think
and
that
flow.
you're the only speaker that really speaks to that. So
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of ebb and flow. I'm a huge fan of the darkness and the light,
yeah,
and there's a seasonality to our lives. And it's like behind this question,
I
if
get
I
it.
were to put if I'm your spiritual guide, I would say to you that behind this question, there's an assumption that you're supposed to be able to make decisions easily all the time. And a life is not like that. The trees have to have the times it sheds its own leaves and flowers and all that so that it can go into dormant time and then
Yes.
it can start to bloom again, and that's what we have to get good at is to, like Lyanca, you said you've been riding the roller coaster, but it's about getting good at riding the roller coaster and
Yes.
strap yourself in so that you're safe, but also have moments of, oh no, and to moments of wee, right? We're having both
Yeah.
oh no and wheeze. And that's when I hear questions like that, it's not really about what can I do, but it's more like, what can you not do? What can you let it be? What can you be a human being for a little bit and allow this bigger cosmic flow to get you to enjoy the roller coaster, because you're not operating your own roller coaster. We're all passengers of the roller coaster.
yeah, bunch of love for you, lots of
Lots of
love.
love for you.
Yeah.
Good.
So Anita said, sometimes we're hanging on for dear life, and sometimes we throw out, we throw up our hands on a roller coaster. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. That's
Good
what we are
metaphor.
experiencing.
And
And I
it's
think
so,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it was so cool that I was thinking of you as I was getting on the roller coaster.
Oh, that's funny.
Can
Yeah,
I
because
confirm all our emails?
that's so funny. Because I mean, Jeneth said, it's like I might be the only person speaking about this,
I
and
agree.
that's
Yeah.
that's why I wore the black and white today. It's like we are this, like we are a mixture.
Yes.
There are times to go inward, there are times to come out, and there are times you want to plant seeds, and there are times to just let things germinate. And I think better you can get in navigating that seasonality of your life, the more you get to enjoy the roller coaster ride. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So
Oh, you guys, just a reminder, if you're watching on the replay, the special offer is around this video, even if you're watching on YouTube. So thought I would put that in there. If you are on YouTube, this is also a reminder to please subscribe, because I want you to come back around and say hello.
thank you, Richard. You're such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I read
He's
that.
my
He
number
said,
one. He's my number one fan. But if you want to read it, Lyanca, I would love to hear
yeah.
it.
So Richard says, so for those who are listening on the podcast, Masami is so profound, so deep in gaining popularity right now. We could learn a lot about ourselves. by connecting with her courses. She's number one in my book. I'm so grateful to have been connected with her.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yay.
I thank
Yay.
you.
And I think there's been a lot of love like that. Thanks, Jeneth and Masami. I'm so much more clear now. And then we had lots of other things that were said. I just needed to hear that. I love the breath and bio work, the cosmic golden liquid. Ooh, yes. Yes. I do love that. I love that idea too. It's just another something that no one is talking about.
Nobody
Yeah,
wants to
no
talk
one's no,
about
yeah,
bile.
I just love to connect the body and the spirit. I just love it. You know, I think it's long overdue. And you know, sometimes I wish that I could just talk about spirits. I really do, because when you start talking about the physiology, it can get complicated. You know, it might take a little bit for you to turn the ship around, but once you start to attend to this beautiful being, if you can attend to this flesh, this housing thing, okay, that's housing your spirit and soul, they just will come out in delightful ways, and they will dance with you. And this is when I think the true Trinity happens, is when you can bring the body to the soul and the spirit. That's when you are absolutely supported, and by heaven and earth and everything in between. And as many of you know, that if you have one-legged stool, sure, it can support you a little bit, but it can be easily broken. And if you have two-legged chair, that's not going to be usable, right? But if you have 3 legs on the stool, it is pretty solid. And that's what you're here to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, let's
All right.
wrap up this beautiful call. I had a thought for you, and I'm going to message you right after this. I want to do something else.
Okay.
Yeah. I adore you so much. Thank you so much for coming back for this encore call. You guys, we'll be back next Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you guys all for joining us. Any last words from either of you? Lyanca?
Any party words for us, Masami? I think you said a lot there. Thank you so much.
I said enough.
Yes.
Just that I really appreciate both of you for holding this space and continuing to share so much delightfulness to the world that we could use. Every day we could use this. And then both of you are such beautiful human beings. So thank you. And I'm thanking your microbes inside too, because they're a part of this too. So thank you. That's
Thank
it.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Oh, thank you all for joining us too. We will see you next time.